What were the dumbest lies you believed when you were a kid?
That our entire house was covered by cork-sized security cameras. And that my parents could see my every move.
My kid has convinced herself of the same thing and always randomly asks, "What am I doing right now?" from across the house.
My mom convinced us she had eyes in the back of her head. She could tell us what we were doing in the living room while working in the kitchen facing away from us. We'd test it even further by doing that. How many fingers am I holding up? Test. And she'd get it right every time. So all little kid evidence concluded that mom did in fact have eyes in the back of her head. It wasn't until I was much older that I randomly noticed the crystal clear reflection in the kitchen window my mom could always see.
My father was a fish taxidermist and had a bunch of glass eyes for them. He told us he had eyes in the back of his head and lifted his hair to show us. Also, I ate a dog biscuit one time, one of those that humans can eat too. And he drew a red dot right on my butt when I was sleeping and told me I was going to turn into a dog. Traumatized me for 8 years.
I could not understand how all the death scenes in war movies seemed surrealistic. So, I asked one of my older brothers how they did it. He proceeded to tell me that they empty out state prisons in the area the movie is being made, dress them up and give them guns and tell them that if they survive the filming, then they get to leave jail after. I was told that at around 7, and I believed it till I was around 10.
When I asked, my dad just told me that they were paid. He meant that they were just actors and it wasn't real. My 4-year-old self just thought that they were stupid since no one would have to pay them once they were dead anyway.
Your brother is a time-traveling Roman warrior.
Or a really screwed up prison guard.
As a kid I had a strangulated hernia, which left me with one testicle. My dad told me if I ever had kids, they would be all boys or all girls. Cause each testicle is for each sex. Believed it for years.
I'm wondering if your dad actually believes that.
My dad won't drink water because he says it rusts your stomach. So,
like, not just tap water, but won't drink water at all. If so, what does he survive on? Soda and beer and Gatorade, or
soda, beer, orange juice. He's extremely diabetic and I'm surprised he's not dead.
Does he not have any idea why he's diabetic?
Stomach rust. He should drink salt water to soak up all the water.
He needs to smoke some cigarettes. The smoke suffocates the bacteria in your stomach.
It only works with poisonous apple seeds though. Not sure it will have the same effect on bacteria.
If you swallowed the black watermelon seeds, a watermelon would grow in your belly.
My sister was 6 when she heard this. A couple of weeks after, she had to go to the doctor because of a horrible infection in her belly button. The doctor removed several watermelon seeds from her belly button. When asked why they were in there, my sister said it was because someone told her if she put seeds in her belly button, she would have a baby.
My dad told me if I swallowed the black watermelon seeds, I would get pregnant. I was probably 4 or 5 at the time. Then, when I was in 4th grade, Dad was having a barbecue with work buddies, and I swallowed one on accident. I freaked out. I was absolutely inconsolable for several minutes. Eventually I was able to stutter out that I was pregnant and didn't want to have babies. It took him a few seconds before he just busted out laughing. It was fucked up seeing him tell everyone why I thought I was pregnant. And a group of sailors laughing at my demise. Before he realized I was still freaked out. And he needed to explain why they were laughing and assure me they weren't laughing at me.
My grandmother told me that pinching gave cancer. I got pinched once at recess and yelled at the person because I thought they were going to give me cancer.
My mother told me basically everything she did not want me to have caused cancer. Salt, cancer. Maraschino cherries, cancer. Anything with any sort of food coloring in it, cancer. Soda, cancer. Spending too much time on TV or computer, or video games, cancer. Now pinching fell under things she didn't physically want me doing. Those didn't give you cancer. They gave you blood clots.
Is your mother the state of California?
When I was 6, my parents told me that when you flush from an airplane toilet, the waste gets dumped mid-air into the ocean. I believed that and told all my friends. Parents then told me they were joking and I became the class fool.
See, I thought that as a kid,
Not because anyone told me, but in my child mind it made sense. As a result, I was terrified to use a plane bathroom. In the late 90s, I was on a plane with my mom and I needed to go, but refused. Stewardess said that, if I went, I could sit with the pilot for the rest of the flight. I still refused. Now I'm kicking myself, cause that's a chance I'd never get again.
It's the exact opposite for me. My parents told me that, because they genuinely thought it was true. And it was why you can't go to the toilet when the aeroplane is taking off or landing. Until one day, when we were on a flight, an attendant said on the pre-flight safety briefing thing that the toilet stuff goes in a tank, and when I told him that, their minds were blown.
Lost my stuffed animal, a white dog, in the airport in Miami when I was 5. It was my favorite and I was really sad about it. A few weeks later my mom presented me with a brown dog that otherwise looked exactly like the white one I'd lost. She said the workers at the airport had found it and mailed it to us. But he got a tan because he was in Florida. Bought it hook, line and sinker for a few years. Tan dog is now my son's and he's a big fan.
Our neighbor's son has autism, and he had a stuffed alligator that was pink and yellow. He carried it with him everywhere. For years, it would get torn, and they'd repair it. Eventually, the fabric was so thin it just fell apart. They hid it from him and told him that Gator had grown up and gone to live with the other gators. He was so inconsolable. They eventually found a slightly larger alligator that was green and gave it to him. They told him that Gator had been living in the sewers with his friends and it turned him green. He finally outgrew the second gator a couple of years later.
That the draining sound of the water in the bathtub was a monster that would suck you in as well. A lie made to get me out of the bath.
To make it worse, my mum told me that if I unscrew my tummy button, my bum would fall off, and the monster would suck it down the plug. Had me howling for hours.
How the heck do you unscrew your belly button?
Obesity. Had a relative who was very, very large. Her belly button, untied. At least that's how she explained it. I don't know if it was caused by a hernia or infection of some sort. But essentially her being so large caused issues and that was the result.
My sister told me that if you count all the stones of Stonehenge, you will die. I still don't know how many stones there are in Stonehenge.
I'll count them for you. There are.
Hey there?
Are you sure he isn't just stoned?
Maybe he just got rocked to sleep.
I believe he was actually stoned to death.
That's why you never take this precious life for granted. Sometimes all the evil can pump us out. Really make us feel like schist. Some turn to drinking quarts and quarts of cold beer. Some even experiment with more dangerous substances like PCP or basalts. Look around you and appreciate this wonderful world of marbles. And you shall be happy. It's really nice.
I can't find any faults in your logic. Consider my world rocked.
These puns are getting bolder and bolder.
That women's periods stop in water to avoid sharks smelling it.
It's an evolutionary adaptation.
The evolutionary pressure to select for this trait just doesn't exist. First, most women never swim in the ocean at all in their lifetime, so the trait would be fully irrelevant to them. Second, women are not menstruating all the time, so a woman without this trait could swim safely most of the time. And on top of that, shark attacks on humans are already very rare, so the trait is rarely tested. This is simply not a natural selection scenario. Women with auto-sealing lady parts would not have a material advantage that would lead to the trait becoming more prominent over time.
You're forgetting the period of time roughly 4,000 years ago, when dinosaurs, sharks, and humans all lived on land together.
Actually, I think it was 2,000 years ago. Jesus rode dinosaurs around town.
That the hazard button in a car would blow the car up.
Holy shoot, I'm not the only one. It's such a scary symbol for a kid. Only to find out it just makes the lights blink.
My mom told me this, so I just pressed the button to spite her.
I'm sorry, honey. You need to do homework tonight instead of going to Joey's sleepover. Oh yeah. Blows up car. Car doesn't blow up.
This isn't a lie, but when I was a kid, I had no idea how turn signals worked and just thought the cars always knew exactly where we were going.
I didn't realize they turned off automatically when the steering wheel is turned back straight. I just thought all adults had to be really coordinated to disengage them while executing the turn. This made me really nervous about learning to drive.
Oh my god, yes. I remember trying to catch my dad turning it off, but I never did. So I bragged to friends that my dad is really fast, etc., until a friend's brother told me the truth.
Some people never grew out of this. They now drive BMWs.
So, drives a BMW, and I found out why they never seem to have signals. It is because the forking light module that controls them can go bad from oxidized electrical parts. And it is $900 a pop to fix them. So I am convinced they are all just broken. Ask me how I know. I can tell you twice in the past year. #Team Toyota.
My dad told me he was colorblind to the extreme when I was 8. The sky is green. The grass is blue. Go was red. Stop was green. The ultimate. White people look black and black people look white. My mom made him fix that last statement quick when I asked her, "Mommy, do I look black to you too?" She was livid, but I was so gullible at that age.
What's Reddit logo, by the way? Looks green to me.
It's orange with a reddish tint. A bit redder than the upvote button.
No, it's obviously purple.
Guessing by your username. You wouldn't know.
But trees are green, aren't they?
Leaves are green. Trees are usually brownish grayish. Or white if it's a birch. But that's nitpicking. Trees are green. Beach.
Look at this guy. Who the heck still thinks that trees are green? They're obviously purple like tomatoes.
Tomatoes are obviously neon pink, you dummy.
As a blue treer, I believe that they are blue.
My mom told me my birthmark was a coffee stain from when she accidentally spilled coffee on me as a baby. I believed it till I was like 11.
I have a mole or birthmark in the center of my one hand. And I once asked my dad what it was. He told me it was my developing third eye. And in 200 years it would be fully functioning.
I had a birthmark on my arm. And my sister told me that I had ants living inside of me and that was their door. Ants would only come out at night after I fell asleep. You can imagine my horror and determination to never fall asleep again.
I was told by my dad my brown birthmark on my knee was caused when I was a baby. I was put in an oven, and that was the only part of me that got done. For quite some time, I thought Africans were fully baked people.
My brother had a birthmark on his belly that was almost 2 inches round and dark brown. Someone told me if you licked it enough times, it would wash out the chocolate under his skin. My dad walked in on me licking it and was like, "What the fork?" I never did find out if it would taste like chocolate.
Probably that if someone couldn't see me, then I couldn't see them. It led me to run around with my eyes closed and inevitably break my arm.
You mean the other way around, right?
I woke up in the bathtub today. Leave me alone.
You won't get in trouble if you tell the truth. Bullshit.
Mine whiz. You won't get in trouble for your grades as long as you tried your best. Clearly, if it's not an A+, it wasn't my best.
We already know what you did, so you might as well tell us.
If you already know, then I don't need to tell you.
Ask your sister how well that turned out for her.